The House rejected a proposal Tuesday that would increase the nation's ability to borrow money without also making major cuts in federal spending. Joining us from Washington is Americans for Tax Reform President Grover Norquist. And Grover, thanks so much for being here.
Good to be with you.
Democrats and Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke say we're headed for an economic doomsday if the debt ceiling isn't raised. But after meeting with President Obama today, Speaker Boehner said raising the debt limit without major spending cuts and meaningful reforms hurts our economy and costs us jobs. Are politicians playing Russian roulette with the debt ceiling?
No, it's a very important decision to make. President Obama wants the debt ceiling increased so he can continue to spend as he's been spending over the last 2 years. The Republicans and Speaker Boehner want to draw down that overspending, and their position is they won't vote for the debt ceiling increase unless serious spending restraint is imposed.
Who's right here?
Well, the president is correct that he wants to spend more money. He's wrong to do so. It's very bad for the country. Obama has created a lot of unemployment and slow economic growth. This is a lousy recovery, if it is a recovery at all. Speaker Boehner is correct on the economics. We need to stop spending so much money. So I believe that the House of Representatives will support Boehner and insist that serious spending cuts happen before any debt ceiling is increased.
Grover, does the GOP hold all the cards right now in this debate? And how do you see the debt debate playing out?
Well, both the Republicans in the House and the Democrats in the Senate and the White House both have a veto. So it's a standoff. Could be a stalemate. At the end of the day, the president desperately wants to spend more money. The Republicans want to spend less money. It's not a question of coming to some compromise. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. The president wants to continue spending. The Republicans want to start the process of turning the ship around and get to less spending.
Now, how do you feel about Paul Ryan's idea to phase out Medicare and replace it with vouchers? And do you see this as an area for compromise at all?
Well, Paul Ryan's budget and his roadmap for the future dramatically reduces domestic discretionary spending. All of the excesses of the Obama years would be squeezed out. It takes Medicaid and food stamps and block grants them to the states so that states can do for Medicaid and food stamps what they did for welfare during welfare reform. And lastly, it saves Medicare, which is going bankrupt under Obama's mad rush off a cliff, and allows individuals to have more control and decide what kind of insurance they want when they get older. So as a taxpayer advocate, I'm very supportive of Ryan's entire plan and very concerned that if we don't move in that direction, we go right off a cliff with Obama overspending.
Now, Democrats keep hammering away at Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. Are there any conditions under which you would approve of phasing them out for the wealthiest Americans?
No, what we need to do is maintain the lower tax rates that the Bush tax cuts put in, and we need to go further than that. Paul Ryan and the Republicans in the House have said, let's take the corporate and individual income tax rates to 25%, drop them from 35%, and have revenue neutral tax reform. That would be very, very good for the economy.
Inside the Beltway, there seems to be a disconnect with Americans' desire to limit spending. Is this true? Are the politicians in Washington becoming further disconnected from America?
Well, several things happened. Obama was elected a while ago, back when he believed that there was a constituency for more spending. A lot of those Democrats in the Senate were elected 4-6 years ago. They believe that the country wants to spend more. They missed the Tea Party. The House of Representatives gets the joke. They understand that Americans want less spending. The older people who've been around longer missed that lesson. Obama, Reid, Pelosi, who actually has been in Washington for some time.
Grover, we'd like to get your thoughts about the 2012 presidential candidates for the GOP, or potential candidates. Mitt Romney appears to be the GOP frontrunner. Would Romney care disqualify him from your support and others?
Well, Romney's clearly a front runner. He's raised a lot of money. He's run for president before. He's a Reagan Republican. many assets. The biggest boat anchor he carries with him is the Romney Care in Massachusetts, which didn't work out well and looks too much like Obamacare. Now, Romney has said he would abolish Obamacare, and I tend to agree with him, but it does raise concerns, and that's why it's not a coronation, it's a primary.
Okay, what about Ron Paul? He says he's running for president. Is his call for abolishing the IRS and going to a flat tax an idea whose time has come?
Well, I think Ron Paul is a very interesting candidate, was 4 years ago. He's a serious Reagan Republican, libertarian. He wants limited government. I think as a congressman, it's a little tough to end up winning the nomination, but his voice is an important voice within the conservative movement and the Republican Party.
Okay, Jon Huntsman, would he have the support of anti-tax people because of his apparent unrelenting support for cap and trade?
Well, Huntsman of Utah was a okay governor in a conservative state. A little unfair to him, but the goalposts have moved after Chris Christie, after Scott Walker. We expect more of our governors than was expected when he was a governor himself, going back 8 years. So there's a very serious candidate in Huntsman. He was an okay governor, but he's going to have to make a case about what he'd do in the future.
Grover, last question real quickly. Of all of the candidates or potential candidates for the GOP, who looks like they might have your endorsement and that of the ATR? Who would you like to see win the GOP nomination?
The most important question we ask is, will you sign the pledge never to raise taxes? When he ran in 2008, Romney signed that pledge, as did Ron Paul. Pawlenty signed it as a governor. Huntsman did not sign it, but did not raise taxes while governor of Utah. So I think many of them will, at the end of the day, be committed against any tax increase. And at that point, Americans for Tax Reform and I will not endorse, as long as everybody makes the commitment not to raise taxes.
All right, Americans for Tax Reform President Grover Norquist, thanks so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your insight.
Thank you.